Hey everyone, Nick Locapo here from Penguin Magic, and if you're watching this video, it is because you purchased Predictions by Roddy McGee. This is an incredible prediction style card effect. It's also super charming and easy to do. You guys are going to love performing it. In this instructional video, I'll show you everything that came inside of the box. I'll show you the secret behind the trick, and then show you everything you need to know about performing it. It's so easy to do, and I know you're going to love it, so let's get started. All right, let's take a look at what came inside of the box. It's got that little magnetic flap there. Lift here. Inside the box, you're going to immediately be greeted by this little envelope here that says Predictions on it. And I'm assuming that they come inside of the envelope, but if they don't, you might find a few red cards just floating around the box there. They'll probably be inside the envelope. Go ahead and place the envelope and the red cards off to the side. I'll show you what those are in just a minute. You're also going to have a deck of cards. Yours should be sealed. Mine, I've already cracked mine open here. So let's take a look at what comes inside the box. Get rid of the packaging for right now. You're going to have this little predictions card here with the link to the instructional video that you are currently watching. So you can put that aside. You don't need that. You're also going to find 4 cards with these like kids cards back design and some different faces here. So basically you're going to find these 5 cards here, and then the rest of the cards are these double face cards, okay? So you have like kids drawn cards on one side and then regular cards on the other. All right, so that's like the meat of the deck. Put that aside and I'll show you what you have here. These 5 cards, we have 4 of them are like complete kids cards with back designs and faces. And then this card here is a double backer. It's a special double backer with a kids card design and a red back design there as well. So that is a different gimmick. So you should have 3 cards, regular red cards here. These are going to be the cover card for the deck. You should have a little envelope. This is how you're going to carry this packet of 5 cards, which will show you all the setup and everything in just a moment. 1 double backer with the kids card on one side and the red rider back on the back, and then a deck of all the cards with the faces, regular indexes here, and then the mirror indexes of the kids cards on the back like that. All right, so that's everything that it comes with. Let's take a look at a performance, and then I'll show you the setup and how to perform the routine.
Wait, I'm just realizing, what did you say your name was?
Hallie.
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 I didn't pick up on, so my nephew, the one I told you about before, I told him I was coming out to film magic tonight, and he's a magician. He made me some predictions. And he told me I'd meet somebody named Hallie, and he made a card for you. Yeah. It's here. He made a few. He said I was going to meet different people, but there's a card in here for you. These are his predictions. Okay. He's 15, which is no. He drew these. Look at them.
Wow.
Aren't they cool?
Those are very
Like the 9 of clubs. This was for Sarah. This was for somebody else. Queen of Hearts wasn't for you. This one. This card, he said, is the card that you would pick. So hold out your hand. All right. And now just you can pick one or just name one. Name one.
8 of Hearts.
Did you say 8 of Hearts? I don't know how he always gets it right, but Hallie, take a look. It's the 8 of Hearts.
Oh my God.
I don't know how he knows. He always gets it right though, so yeah.
Let's just break down the main secret of the trick before we get into the main explanation of the routine. The main secret behind this effect is a double face deck and a double back card. Okay, so we know we have this double back card that came in the box. It's got a red back on one side and a kid's card on the other. Now the deck that you have is, aside from these 3 red indifferent cards, makes it look like a red deck, is this. They are kids cards on this side, incredible artwork of all these different kids cards on this side, right? And then on the other side, regular cards. And they're mirrored. So on like the 7 of Hearts, for example, it looks normal here, but on this side is a kid's 7 of hearts. And the ace of diamonds, turn it over, you guessed it, is a kid's ace of diamonds. And one more, just for good measure, the queen of clubs, turned over, it's the queen of clubs. So no matter what card they name in the deck, you're going to have the matching kids card on the other side. Now, because this is a double back card with a red back design on the other side, you get to use one of the coolest moves in Magic, something called the Monty move. We'll break down this in detail a little further later in the video, but whatever card they name, when you turn both of these cards over at the same time, it looks like you've turned one card over to show its back and the other card over to show its face, right? So it looks as if you're going to see this card, but you're not. You're just seeing the other side of this card, right? It's kind of like a hard move to explain out loud, but there's different ways to handle this so that it looks like you've just simply turned over this card, and that's the idea. It looks like we're just coming over and turning that card over, but secretly all we've done is deliver the card from this deck onto the table, okay? That's the core secret that's driving predictions. Now let's take a look at the full routine. Let's take a look at the setup for predictions. It's very simple, and once you get this set up, it resets instantly and all that, so you're kind of just setting it up for one time here. Like I mentioned before, you have this little predictions card. You can get rid of that. You don't quite need that anymore. Let's start with the predictions envelope and what needs to go in here. Inside of this envelope, you're going to want to put the 4 complete kids cards, right, along with your double backer, okay, along with the double backer. And you're going to want to put that double backer at the bottom from the face of these cards, okay, so that when you take them out of the envelope and show them to somebody, this is not what they're going to see. You're going to want to hide that, but I'll step through that in just a minute. So just put the double backer there at the top or at the bottom of them face up, and then place these in the envelope. Either way, I like to keep the back designs this way so it's the first thing that they see when they come out of the envelope, okay? So that's the setup for the envelope. For the deck of cards, you want to, first of all, you're going to want to shuffle these, okay? You don't want these in this order here. So the first step is to shuffle these up. I'll give them a couple quick mixes here. I'll give you some tips a little bit later about the order in which I kind of like to have these cards in as well, but it's not necessary for right now. I'll have some bonus tips a little bit later in this video. So get these pretty well mixed so that you have a nice variety of cards. And then you're going to take the indifferent red cards here, and you're going to place them at the top or the bottom of the face down deck here, or the face up deck, but at the top of the face down deck, right? So from here we have 3 red cards and then all the kids, and on this side it's all the regular face cards. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. So for all intents and purposes, this looks like a deck of cards, and if you were to pick it up, you were to spread it, you would see regular faces here, yeah? The only thing that you want to double check is these 3 indifferent cards here, the ones that you've received are probably completely random, right? I have a 10 of clubs, a 3 of clubs, and a 10 of spades. You just want to make sure that you don't have any of these 3 cards near the bottom part of the deck, because when you spread through, if somebody says the 3 of clubs, you don't want to find yourself in a situation where, so here's the 3 of clubs, but imagine if that 3 of clubs was way down here. So if somebody said the 3 of clubs, I'd be spreading all the way down here, and I have an opportunity to flash 2 3 of clubs in the same spot, right? So just make sure that none of the cards from your indifferent card stack are near the bottom here. So in this case, I would move the 3 of clubs, and it looks like my 2 black 10s are like way over here, so we're pretty good. So I'll just throw the 3 up there, and we're all set in that front, okay? So the deck just goes into the box. Predictions envelope goes into your pocket, and you're ready to go. Let's talk about how to perform predictions. Like I mentioned, start with that predictions envelope in your back pocket, all set up, ready to go. and your deck of cards just sits in your pocket here. It's a great opening effect to show somebody. And the first part of this trick that we're going to talk about here kind of suits itself for an opening effect, because you're going to ask somebody, hey, what's your name? Can I show you a trick? So you almost want to be pulling out the deck of cards as if you're going to show them a card trick before anything else happens, right? Like, hi, my name's Nick. Can I show you guys some magic? What's your name? Because what needs to happen here is you want to have the cards out on the table as if you're going to show them a card trick, and then they tell you their name. And it's as if something else changes. Like, we were going to do this, but now that they've told you their name, you're like, oh, really? That's crazy, because, and then you're going to go get the envelope. So this is an important jumping off point for the trick. It kind of needs to feel like I'm going to show you something with this, but then you say your name. So now we're thinking about this, because this deck, this is like the fully gimmicked secret behind the whole trick, but it kind of just needs to not be a part of the routine. People just need to forget about this deck, right? And we're doing that by making a big deal out of the spectator's name. Like, oh my God, it's Steve, I can't believe you're here. My nephew, he's into magic, and he loves to make little playing cards for me. So this is the real charm and beauty of this routine, right? This is where you want to spend the most time on the trick. The trick, from when we get into it, only takes a matter of seconds, right? This is really where you want to weave your story about your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your student, whoever, and these really cute and awesome playing cards that they've made you, right? The more time you pour into this part of the routine, the bigger, better reaction you're going to get. Also, this is another great reason for it being an opening trick. You get to tell the spectators something about yourself. I think, as Roddy says, he's, I have a child, so be nice to me type of thing. But anyway, my nephew, for me, I use my nephew. My nephew, he's into magic, and he draws me playing cards, and he knew, and he makes them every month for me, and he always says that I have different cards in here for different people, and if I meet somebody named Steve, there's a card in here for you, right? I always like to say that. There's a card in there for you, which is kind of like they're like, oh, there's one for me in here? So now you get to take these cards out of here and show them, right? And just show how awesome they are. Now, remember, there's a card at the top here that you don't want them to see. It's got the red back on the other side. But you can take them out, you can show the back designs and say, look at these awesome cards that he draws. Aren't they really cool? He hand draws them for me. And these cards are for different people. He knows what cards people are going to pick. Now, there's one nice thing here. You can mix these around and still feel confident to know which one is the double backer, because it is the one card amongst these that actually looks like a rider back design, right? It's this one here. Kind of fun, right? So you don't feel shy. You can move these around and show them, but when you're done, just make sure that this one's on the top, so when you turn them over, you can show them like this, right? So Steve, that's crazy. My nephew draws these cards, and he said that I would meet somebody named Steve. He has a card in here for you. So what I do is I say, aren't these great? The King of Diamonds, that was for somebody else, so that wasn't for you. The Nine of Clubs, that was for somebody named Sarah. I don't think I've met Sarah yet. This one for somebody else. And so notice at this point, when I start to talk to myself, I tip the cards up towards myself so that the spectator can't see this double back card. So I start to think and be like, wait a minute, no, not this one or this one, this one. This is the card my nephew said you were going to pick. So you want to show them these four cards as well. This is kind of why I'm taking the time to be like, no, it wasn't this one or this one. It's because we want them to inspect these cards. We want them to get familiar with what these cards look like and appear like. Because in a moment, this card that they're going to essentially name, when we turn it over, is going to look something like these. If they never saw these cards to begin with, they would have no context for what this might look like on the other side. So it's important that these cards exist. They know that they're kind of funky looking and different colors and might have weird pictures on them. So, subconsciously they're prepared for what this might look like, okay? So once you kind of get to this point where you say, all right, no, that was for Dave, this was for somebody else, and it was this one. This is the card he said you would pick. Lay that down, and if you want to, you can turn these over. And I'll show you why that can be important in a minute, but face up or face down, doesn't quite matter. Okay? You're almost done at this point, because from here on out, I should mention, this can go on the table or it can also go in the spectator's hand. It's a great walk-around opening trick, so I would highly recommend placing it in the spectator's hand. And because this is a prediction, they're not supposed to look at it, right? You're not going to have people like instantly looking at this, because it's implied that like, okay, well, it's like a surprise, right? They're going to guess the card. They're going to be impressed if this is the card, right, that they just name off the top of their head. So you can be careful. Like, one thing I like to do when placing a gimmick card in spectators' hands is, like, as long as you care about it, like, be very like gentle and place it down. Like, that's the prediction. That's the card that my nephew said you'd pick. I'm going to have you name a card or think of a card, right? If I just did here, just put that in their hand, there might be a tendency to kind of look at it or something, but as long as you're just like, that's important, don't move, they're not going to move. Okay, so place the card in their hand or on the table if you have it. Okay, so you're in this position. You got the prediction in their hand. You've already shown them these cards, right? And now you're going to say, here, you can pick a card, or you can just name one. So you're going to pick up the deck, and you can thumb over two of these cards. You want to be careful and not thumb over too far and show that joker there. But you can pick up the deck, and you could say something like, now you could just pick a card, and you're just subtly showing the backs of the cards here. Or why don't you just name one? And you can spread through and just show them the cards. Now, it's nicer if they just name one of the cards that they can see. They can really name any card except for these, right? They can't name these cards because, well, then your prediction wouldn't be correct. Your nephew wouldn't have had the right prediction, right? So if they said ace of spades, any card but the ace of spades, because these cards are already out here. So really you want them to just name one that they can see. You can have them name any card. It's just that if you have to go find it, it just makes the trick take a beat longer than you might like. It's a lot nicer if you just say, just name one of these. And they say four of hearts. The four of hearts, because it's already right here and you can just grab it, right? Nice and quick, right? So what also needs to happen here is when you say, just name one of these, you need to go, oh my God, I don't know how he does it, but he always gets it right. Like, when you already know what this card is, seemingly, right? So when they say four of hearts or whatever card they're going to say, you need to be impressed, right? That's just part of the gig here. So if they say four hearts, you go, no way. I don't know how he does it, but he always gets it right. And then you show the prediction. Now let's go. We'll take a step back here and we'll talk about revealing this prediction. We're going to be using something called the Monty move. And the Monty move is this great interaction between a double face card and a double back card. We already know that all of these cards have the mirror image of themselves. So we have the four of hearts here and the four of hearts in the back. So all that's happening with the Monty move is essentially we're just turning these over. And because the way that these cards are designed, even doing this kind of fools you a little bit. But there's some things that we can do to make this discrepancy even better, right? So it's just supposed to feel like we're turning this card over, and that's why it's like a kid's card there. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so let's go back to where we were. The predictions there out on the, we'll say this is on the table for right now. All you have to do, no way, I don't know how he does it, but he always gets it right. On the table, I like to come underneath the card and then line them up and then turn my hand over and then push that 4 into view. Okay? That's how the Monty move goes on the table. So you're here, just come underneath and then pull back and push forward and you've got the 4. Okay? It's really, really easy to do. Now in the hands, it might be tough to get underneath the card sometimes. So like if you can get good at it, you can get the card underneath the card that's on their hand, right? But you can also, and I don't love it as much, but you can just place the card on top of it and then just kind of like pick them both up end for end and leave the 4 in their hand like that, okay? Either way works. I'll just show you that again here. So you could just say, No way. I don't know how he always gets it right, but that's the exact card that he said you would pick. Okay? So there you go. That's the Monty sequence. Now let's talk about where your hands need to go after you've revealed the card, right? So let's say they say the 4 of hearts. No way. When you're about to go here, what you want to do is turn this deck over in your hand, okay? Because we're going to ditch this double backer on the top of the deck here. So go ahead and name a card. Let's say they say 3 of clubs. I don't know how he knows. He always knows what card people will pick. The 3 of clubs, that's incredible. And then as long as you turn this deck over, you can place that red double backer right on top of the deck, and then immediately come over and pick up this card off their hand, right? You want to pick this card up off the spectator's hand because it is a gimmick card. They are not going to think there's anything wrong with the back of it because they've been holding it this whole time already. But you want to make sure you get it out of their hands and into yours so that you can look at it and you can show everybody else that's around, right? So the sequence at speed should be like, the 3 of clubs, that's incredible. Notice how I turned the deck over. I don't know how he always gets it right, but he always knows, right? That's kind of the symphony of motion that you want. And then you can show this to everybody around you, okay? Another nice little thing that you can do right after this is while they're looking at the card and people are laughing and reacting, just simply push the double backer that you just dumped on top of the deck, just push it over a little bit and get a break underneath that card, right? That way you can show the card, say, I don't know how he always gets it right, but he always does. And then you just lay it face up on top of that double backer and you can pick up both cards and just kind of casually flash the back design there, right? Because you got 2 cards as one, so you just show the back, right? And you're done. That's the end of the trick. So to clean up this trick, there's 2 ways that you can go. But one thing you can do is if you really want to just kind of sell the idea of the 5 cards, just thumb the three over, right? Pick all these up and then put them back in the envelope like this. Now you're not going to be reset as well there, but it is kind of a nice thing. Like it kind of completes the 5 cards. They just go in your pocket and then these go back. They go in the envelope and then go back in your pocket. Kind of has a nice feel to it. But the other way, if you want to like reset really easily and start the trick over, is to simply, so you would have those cards out here, yeah, they're going to need to go back in the envelope. So one thing you can do is once you've revealed the card and get a little break underneath the double backer so that you can flash it like you already did, and then instead of putting it back on top of the deck, just put it on the bottom of the deck, yeah, and then turn the deck over and then push this card off. So that's the double backer. And then you can pick up the rest of these cards, right? I'm just doing this to myself here. You can mix these up, put that double backer right on the top, and then put them back in the envelope, and you're ready to go. Yeah? Because that's just going to put the 3 at the face of the deck. So the deck is all set, ready to go again, and you have the envelope. So, yeah, that's about everything on the routine. Let me just talk a little bit about some theory on the contrast of the colors of these cards. It was something that I mentioned at the beginning. It's important to see the back designs of these cards and the back design of the deck as well. Because, again, you just want to give people context of what they should expect from this card, okay? So it can be helpful when you do the trick to possibly have these back designs face down when this card is out here, so we know what these cards look like, right? And when they've named a card, so let's say they say the Jack of Hearts, make sure that this is here, right? So we have a red back design in play, and we also have these blue ones in play. So we know that when you turn this over, right, feels good, right? There's these different colors here, and we understand this must have this back design. You and I both know that it doesn't, but it feels like it should, right? So that's just kind of an idea. You don't have to make sure that you have this like perfect setup when you do the trick. I'm just trying to share with you some deeper thoughts on how to make this as strong as possible, right? So don't let these out of view. Keep these in view somewhere so that people can see them and they know what these are. Because yeah, these are strange cards. I mean, they're awesome cards. They're so cool the ways that these are designed. But yeah, so that is just some extra thoughts on how to present the routine. Now I'm going to give you another way to perform the same trick. But before that, let's take a look at the performance and the explanation just one time through really fast. Here's a quick run through of the performance of predictions. You start by bringing out the deck of cards, saying you're going to do some card tricks. You ask the spectator's name. They tell you and you stop. Oh my God, I can't believe it. You're the person that my nephew said you would meet. That whole scheme. Take out the envelope. Take out the cards. Explain that these are cards that your nephew drew. You can show the back designs of them here, right? And then you're going to turn them towards yourself and show the faces of them without flashing that, right? So you're going to say, this was for these people. This is the one that he said that you would pick, okay? And you can spread those out so they can see them, put the envelope aside. And then you're going to pick up the deck and you say, well, you could choose one of these or actually just name one. And let's say they say the 10 of clubs. You say, no way, I don't believe it. I don't know how you knew. Turn the deck over in your hand. I don't know how my nephew knew. And you're going to do the Monty move. Pick that and turn that 10 over. Put the double backer there and immediately pick up the 10 and show it to everybody. As everybody's reacting, grab that little break underneath the double backer. Place the 10 on the top of the deck. Yeah, he gets it right every time. Just gesture as you talk. Flash that back design. Now, if you want to instantly reset, just go ahead and put that card on the bottom of the deck, just the two cards, the double there. Turn the deck over, and then all you have to do is thumb this off, put the deck down, grab the rest of the cards. Remember, this is the double backer there. And then place these in the envelope, and you are reset, ready to go to the next table.
I cannot believe you said the 9 of spades. I don't know how he does it, but he always gets it right. The 9 of spades.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
I got all night. I'm here.
Well, and I just realized, and it didn't dawn on me. I was talking with my nephew before I came out to. I was like, I'm going to film, and so he made me some predictions.
Okay.
Right, and he told me. So yeah, predictions.
There you go. Yeah.
He's a magician and he draws playing cards. He made a card for you. He knows he's a big fan, so he's like, when you see Jake, this is the card I drew for Jake.
Okay.
Right. So there's a bunch of cards in here for other people as well. You know, 9 of clubs, Queen of Hearts. But there was it was this one. He said you would pick this card right here.
Okay.
So hold out your hand. All right. And so it wasn't any of these. Yeah, he didn't say. Yeah, it was definitely that one. You could just pick one, or tell you what, you just name one.
Okay. Let's do just any card.
Yeah.
Let's do 5 of diamonds.
Did you see? Oh, it's 5 of diamonds.
Oh,
Five
I
of,
just
no,
said
it's
five.
okay. No, we'll find it.
I just thought of a card.
But I can't believe you said 5 of diamonds. Because I don't know how he does it, but that's exactly the card that he said you would pick.
Get
the 5
out
of
of
diamonds.
here.
Crazy, right? So that's it. I don't know how he does it, but he does.
So predictions is a great trick. It's a great opener. It's a great walk around. You don't need a table. There's a lot of benefits to doing it this way. And this little story of taking the cards out of the envelope is very fun. But because we have this gimmick deck here, I figured I would show you really the origin trick for this, which is a trick called Touch by Paul Curry, which is a trick that I've worked a lot on in the past. And this is essentially Roddy's handling of Paul Curry's Touch. Paul Curry's Touch is a lot simpler than the routine, believe it or not, even more simple than the routine that Roddy has given you here. But I figured, hey, while we got the deck here, I might as well show you a very basic version of Touch that you can do with your predictions deck. And you might even like it better. So might as well show it to you. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you don't need the red indifferent cards. Okay, these cover cards that go on the top of the deck, Don't need them. You can place those aside. You're going to want to grab your double backer. Okay, grab that out. Leave that to the side. And then the cards that are the full art kids cards, you're going to place those, just like the cover cards before, on the top of the deck like that, so that you have the 4 cards and then all of the regular looking cards and then the kids cards this way. So now it looks like you have a deck of kids cards, right? So from here, if you were to spread over, they look like, yeah, these cards they're all drawn. And then if you spread this way, you get all these awesome full artwork, okay? And in this scenario, our prediction is going to be reversed. Instead of starting with it this way, we're going to start with it that way, right? So the trick is essentially the same, except we're not using the envelope either. So you would come out and say, I have a prediction. You maybe come out of your pocket with this or whatever. I have a prediction here. This card right here is a card that I know you are about to think of, or you're about to touch, or you're about to say, right? Touch is what Paul Curry used to use, hence the name Touch. And I also have this deck of cards that my kids drew for me. Check them out, right? So you can start like this by displaying the top 3 cards. Can't show this one because then you'll end up flashing the deck there. You can display the top 3, even hand them to the person, and as they're looking at them, then just spread the deck out on the table. You're going to need a table to do this particular routine. So you can spread the cards out on the table, and you can just say, look how awesome they are, right? Like they hand drew everyone. My King of Spades is my favorite. Just remember, these are all gimmick cards in the back, so don't show the backs of them. But from here, the spectator can touch any card. So you can make a big deal out of it. Say, go ahead and raise up your finger and just touch the face of any one of these cards, any card that calls to you. And it doesn't matter which one they touch, obviously. Let's say they touch the Queen of Clubs. Remember, you want to react because you already know, seemingly, what this card is. No way. The Queen of Clubs, do you want to change your mind? And it's the same move, except now we're changing a kid's card for a regular face card like that. Now, in this case, you don't really need to show what this looks like, right? Because everybody kind of is familiar with what these cards already look like. In the other scenario, having these cards out kind of establishes what a hand-drawn card would look like, right? But in this case, you don't really need to. Everybody's pretty well aware of what a playing card looks like that's printed on the back design of this, okay? So yeah, that's it. You would just pick up the queen, turn it over, and be like, the Queen of Clubs. I don't know how you knew that. And you're done, right? For this, you could revert to the same handling, right? So I'm kind of giving you making the handling up here at the same time. But after they touch the queen, right, you could pull that out and place it on top of that card like that. Scoop up the rest of these cards, right? Turn the deck over, and then do the Monty move and place this back on top like that. And if you want to, it's the same handling. You can place the queen on the top and flash the red back, right? And then place that, you could do this as well. So you flash the red back, put it on the face of the deck, turn this over, and place this prediction back in your pocket, right? It's all the same thing as before. So it's just interesting to think about this trick in reverse. And that is just a cool little bonus Paul Curry touch routine for you. Here are a couple final bonus ideas for your predictions deck. I wanted to call attention to the double backer that you received. This card here has a red side and the kids side. You might have noticed on the red side, it's just a little like off-colored. They don't quite match in color. And the reason why has to do with how they were printed. The regular rider back color is printed in something called PMS, and the kids card deck was printed in CMYK. So it wasn't an intentional thing. It just is what it is. They kind of have a different color back. Now, no spectator is ever going to notice that, okay? But I get it. Sometimes you kind of want things to be completely perfect. The good news is that not only can you change the color of this card, you can make the deck any color that you want. Because we've already seen 2 routines with the deck. Essentially, the deck, we already know, it has no back design, right? It's regular cards here and kids cards on the other side. So the way that you determine the color of the back of the deck is simply by whatever cards are on top of the deck, right? So in this case, the deck looks red, but that's only because we have red cards here. So we can make the color of the deck any color that we want. Let's say we want to make it blue. Well, all you got to do is get some double stick tape and your double back card and any blue back card, yeah? And we're just going to tape it onto the double backer, essentially making it a kid's card and a blue back card, right? So whenever you're going to do this, I like to be really thorough and do a tight job around the outside edge of the card, right? So I'm going to come up to as close to the edge of the top of it as I can, like that. We'll go down the side. Yeah, like this. And then one here. And double stick tape always peels off of the double backer really easily, so you're not really going to damage the card in any way by doing this. So stick it on there. So now I have a nice square of double stick tape around, and just sometimes for good measure, I'll throw a nice piece right in the center. So now all you can do is stick this on that side, and it's easy to do because you can kind of reposition it, line it up with your fingers so that it is perfect, and check it out. Right now you have a kid's card on one side and a blue card on the other. So if you want to do it with a blue deck, just ditch these 3 cards. These are just cover cards. Grab the 3 cards from your other deck that you want to put on top of there. One thing you can do as well is use, instead of just using any 3 or 4 cards, can be 3, can be 2, can be 5. It's up to you how many cards you want to put up there as the cover. But you could have them be these cards, right? So whatever cards you have here, I have the Ace of Spades, King of Diamonds, Nine of Clubs, Queen of Hearts. You could put those as your cover cards, just a thought, but otherwise it doesn't really matter. So throw those on top of the deck. Now check it out. We essentially have the same trick with a blue deck. Now I know that this double backer is thicker than the other double backer, but you don't have to worry about the spectator ever noticing anything about it because they are never going to touch this card. You might lay it in their hand, but there's no way that they're going to know that this is a thicker card than normal. So do not feel nervous about having a thick card in play or placing that card in the spectator's hand. They're never going to notice. One other thing I wanted to just mention here, well, 2 things. The envelope. We've supplied you with an envelope that has it spelled predictions, kind of funny on the face of the envelope. But if you have a kid in your life that you can access and get them to make you an envelope, I would highly recommend doing that. This is here just so that you can use it and you have something to use. But, you know, have your nephew actually make you something, or your son or your daughter. Just even more fun, and you get, you know, you'll have more patter because of it. So you don't have to use this. Get one made by a professional kid. And then, last but not least, I sometimes prefer, we've already taken a look at these cards, but look how awesome these cards are, yeah? You have so many cool designs in here, and I would say some are better than others, right? They're just more unique. Roddy's kids actually spent a lot of time, Rebecca and Sean McGee, designing this deck for him. So all of the artwork in this deck was actually done by them. So what I like to do when I perform the trick is I like to put my favorite designs near the face of the deck, okay? For this reason. Because when I spread through, the spectators are just naming one of the cards that they see. So one of the cards that are like near the front of the deck, right? I'd rather them name one of these cards because I'm actually in control of what I can put up here, right? And I can put my favorite ones up there. Like the Queen of Clubs, I think, is awesome. Like, look at that design. Like, the 4 of Clubs is cool, but it's not as interesting as the 10 of Diamonds with the diamond there, or even the 3 of Spades, or the King of Clubs, or the 8 of Love Hearts, or the 3 of Hearts, right? So I kind of pass on these ones that look normal-ish, and I like to take the more interesting ones and put them near the face of the deck, right? So let's see here, the King of Hearts, 2 of Spades, the 6 of Love Hearts. Yeah, that one's got a little arrow through it, right? So they just have a little bit more character. Ace of Clubs is cool there. 3 of clubs is cool, Jack of hearts, 10 of clubs. Like, look how awesome that one is, right? So I kind of front load the deck with the most interesting designs so that whenever they call out one of these, yeah, you're going to have like a really fun reveal, as opposed to, you know, they're all good, but I would rather it be one that has really some interesting, fun imagery on there as well. So just a little thing to think about. All right, we've come to the end of the video. I'll see you in a second.
What's your name?
Jacob.
Jacob?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, way.
Unbelievable, right? Now, I'm a little nervous, Jacob, right? So my little girl, she's quite into art and stuff. She loves magic as well. And she made some predictions for me. For sure, I know, don't laugh, she hates this.
Show it to the camera.
She made some
How
predictions.
she spelled it out.
You can tell how this is pretty dog-eared. But what she did was I gave her some blank cards, and she drew her own cards here. Right, they're pretty cool, right?
Yeah, those are
so
awesome.
all different ones. And she said to me, I don't want you to see them all, because she said Jacob is going to pick this one. That's what she said, for sure. So put your hand out for me. So she said you were going to pick that one. Now, this is a full deck, Jacob, so you can have any card at all. So just name any card you like, or one that you see.
7 of hearts.
7 of hearts. Nice and easy right up here. Now, you don't want to change your mind, you can have any one you like.
No, that'll be good for me.
Now, you know what's cool about this, and these are pretty cool, but look, check this out, right? She just nails it every single time. Every time. She just totally nails it.
Nice.
Isn't that cool? Thank you, that good. You can really see. Just, it's weird, right? Weird, but just pretty awesome. So this is extremely simple. As an opener, it's great because really, when you're performing for an audience, quite often they haven't seen magic before, right? First time you're doing it for people, and they don't really know how to react quite often. They say, do I clap now, or do I clap at all, or is he going to do more? Do I wait till the end? So this is a way, quite often, I didn't do it there, but what I normally do is I say, so let's have a big round of applause for Rebecca, my daughter, for getting that right. And, you know, it gives people that comfortable sort of time where they can clap and they feel comfortable, especially if you're attributing the magic to someone else. I say, my daughter did this. And also there's that whole thing of saying, you know, I've got kids, be nice to me, you know. It's that kind of thing, like, please, I've got a child. So it's really simple, you know, it's a really simple trick. But I think it helps kind of establish that comfortable applause for people, and you know, it gives them that opportunity to kind of, you know, clap. They're not clapping for you; they're clapping for your daughter, and it's really simple. Basically, how it's set up is I have a blank back deck, and every card has the corresponding card on the back, right? So every card. So me and my little girl sat down and drew these. And I stole a couple of things from Richard Pinner, like, because he has this kids cards thing with 3 of spades. That was one of Richard's. Sorry, Richard. I hope you don't mind, Richard, but, you know, it's such a good image, I thought I'd use that. So this is it, basically, and the other part here is we have sort of proper cards. These are just made from double blanks, and a blank face card, which you do the Monty move at the end. Now, the Monty move, as I'm sure everyone will know, so let's say they pick, I'll just show you, right? So let's say they pick the 10. The other thing is that the cards, the cover cards that go on top here are the same as these ones here, right? So, you know, I kind of say, oh, well, don't, when I put these down, I say, well, obviously, you can have any card apart from these ones, obviously. So these are my cover cards. So where am I? Let's see. So yeah, I go through and I kind of show these, but I don't show this back here. So I kind of go through and I say, you're going to pick this one, right? And this goes in their hand, so that has the back. So that goes in their hand, and they go through, they pick any card. So let's say they pick the 4, which we know has the 4 on the back. And then you do the Monty move. I'll do it down here on the table. Can you see this okay? So the Monty move is you just basically do that. When you turn it over, you just transpose the cards. Now, having these cards here and having the back here, it kind of gives it a bit of context. It makes more sense. The Monty move on its own is not particularly deceptive. You need other cards to give it context, if that makes sense. So what I do is, another thing actually, once they've chosen that card, I kind of flip the whole deck over in my hand, so that once I've done this, I can immediately put this back on the deck. Now these cards, it's as if these cards weren't in play really, they weren't any part of it, this was what it's all about. Now I used to be kind of nervous about putting this gimmicked card into someone's hand, because people, you know, like Dan said, a Glasgow audience can be a bit tough at times. And in fact, I used to do Dr. Daly's Last Trick as an opener. I used to do that quite a lot, and other magicians would kind of laugh about it and say, well, that's not an opener. But I thought, no, it's perfect as an opener, because you're all familiar with the trick, right? Now you get that point where you say, okay, now they've switched places, now I'm going to go back, I'm going to make them go back the way they were. I always do that, steal it from Tommy Cooper. And people are thinking, oh God, this guy's awful. You know, they're thinking, oh, and they feel kind of sorry for you, especially if you play it the way I do, where I'm kind of quite self-effacing. And they're like, oh no, we're going to, this is just terrible. So when you reveal that the cards have changed, then the reaction is so much bigger, because they're kind of like, oh, thank God, you know, and oh, thank God, it's amazing. So I used to worry about it, but then it was Bill Malone performing it, and he does that, because, you know, the first few times I tried it, I'd say, so I'll put the spade here, and they'd go, aye. You know, they'd put it in their hand, they'd go, yeah, and look at it, you know, because people don't believe you. So his little thing of saying, now I'll just put that in your hand, that's not too heavy, is it? And it interrupts that thought process, and they go, and by the time they've thought about it and they've thought, you've put another card on top, you say, that's not too heavy, is it? All right, we'll put another one there, and they go, oh, damn, I was going to turn that over, now there's two, and I can't. So, you know, I used to worry about putting this in people's hands, but I just lift it off their hand immediately. So once this goes on their hand, where am I again? I've fooled myself. So how do you do this again, Dan? How's this? So once that's in their hand and you do this sort of turnover bit, and immediately you go back to deck with this, I immediately lift this off their hand to display it to everyone else. So I go, there we go, and let's have a big round of applause for my daughter, kind of thing. So, and I'm just keeping this to myself here, so you can do it surrounded, you know, and it's as if you're picking this up to show everyone else. You're doing your audience a favour here by picking this up, but really you're just kind of hiding it and quickly taking it away. Now, at that point, they're kind of reacting, and I keep a huge break. You'll see as we go through this that this is the kind of break I keep on cards, right? I get like my fist in there, I don't care, no one's watching, you know. So I have this huge break on there, I just put it back on top, I gesture with my other hand, and then I lift off both of them and I just kind of flash it, you know, just in case anyone's kind of thinking, wait a second, let's see the back of that. I just kind of say, isn't that amazing? And then I just put it back on the bottom of the deck, and that goes back with those cards, and I'm ready to go again. So it instantly resets. So as an opener, it's fantastic. Like I say, you get that whole thing of asking for applause for someone else and really kind of cueing your audience to applaud, because like I say, quite often they don't know, what are we supposed to do? So if you get applause at that point and they're more comfortable doing that, you could perhaps do the kind of Derren Brown's sort of thing of anchoring that response. So if someone responds particularly well and they clap and they say, that's amazing, then you do that. Are you familiar with this? You kind of tap them on the shoulder and say, you repeat what they said. Say, oh, that's amazing, isn't it? And if you continue to do this throughout the set, when they applaud and they react, if they react particularly well, usually women are particularly good for this, and you kind of touch them and say, isn't that amazing? Then the theory goes that you can elicit that response when you want, so that you get to a point where you want that response, then you should be able to elicit it just by touching that person on the shoulder, just by going, and they will go, and respond like that. Now, it does work with some people, and if it doesn't, then, you know, at least you get the chance to touch someone. A lot of magicians don't get the chance to touch a woman. So, you know, it's like, you get that chance, you know. So you get that from it. So that is does anyone have any questions about that at all?
That
No?
makes sense. Yeah, good.
Please prefer to.
Well, congratulations. You have made it to the end of the video. Thank you for sticking around. Roddy McGee is one of our favorite creators here at Penguin Magic. And if this is one of your first purchases or it's the first time you've seen his name, He has a lot of incredible magic. So head on over to Penguin Magic, just type in Roddy McGee, and you will find some of the best magic available on Penguin Magic. His whole array of tricks that you can buy are just great. So if you love this one, chances are you're going to love another trick of his as well. Special thanks to Roddy for producing this with us here at Penguin, and also special shout out to Rebecca and Sean McGee for their incredible artwork contribution to this project. And while you're on Penguin, make sure you leave this trick a review because it's a great trick and it deserves it. So it also helps people find great magic on our site as well. So do your part and contribute to the review process. That's it for me. My name's Nick Locapo. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I'll see you next time.